everybody. Welcome back to the Health Bridge. It's Dr. Sara Gottfried. I'm here with Dr. Pedram Shojai. Hi, Pedram.
Hello. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi. So, Pedram, I just went to New York, and it got me thinking about body image, especially Madison Avenue and just all the skinny women that I saw running around Madison Avenue. I feel like, especially as the mother of two young daughters, I see the influence of kind of body image problems earlier and earlier. Have you noticed this in your practice?
I've noticed it in my practice of both in Southern California, about an hour south of LA, and then I used to actually treat a lot of actresses, famous people I can't mention, and fashion models. And nothing is as alarming as spending some time with people who are constrained by the parameters of that insanity, to realize that the whole thing is just crazy. It's like everyone's aspiring to look like these people, and when you get to know these people, they're absolutely insane and miserable, trying to keep a body image that is really unsustainable. And somehow that's what we should all aspire towards. So yeah, it was up close and personal for me, getting to see the agony that these poor girls were going through, trying to be beautiful, and the people in their world were horrible to them. Like, I mean, this girl had zero body fat, and the guy would just come up and grab on, I don't know, a rib or something, and be like, "What is this? What is this? You don't eat today." And yeah, the stuff that they were subjected to was really, in my opinion, criminal.
Well, I appreciate the language that you're using here, the agony, how this is criminal. I've been looking at the literature recently, and I see this is not just a problem in the US, right? I mean, we know that girls that are in third grade, a large number of them are talking about how they need to go on a diet, they're too fat, and this just breaks my heart. I see it every day in my practice, and I was also looking at a study in Japan with girls there saying that they're fat, at a very young age. And I want to just talk for a moment about this private suffering, because I think so many women hold themselves to that supermodel ideal that you're talking about. I think 1% of the female population actually has the genetics to have the really tall height and the really thin kind of body that would allow you to be in the supermodel range. It's probably even less than 1%. And most women, have some fat on them. We're wired to have fat. It's part of fertility. It's part of production of hormones. And I see so many women with this private suffering, with the mismatch between how their body is and this body image that's really projected by the media. And so it's that suffering that troubles me so much. And I want to think about, okay, how do we help women with this? How do we help with the body image? I think the term is body image dysmorphic disorder.
Dysmorphic, yeah.
And it's not just women. I mean, men also, I think, are influenced by media, but I don't think it's quite as profound as it is for the female form.
Yeah, I mean, I just had, we're doing this kind of deep dive summit for our Origins movie, and the one gentleman had some really profound things to say. A gentleman by the name of Eugene Cook, who's an urban ag guy, just big dreadlocks and beard, just this awesome looking, intelligent, well-spoken brother from Atlanta, right? Or who's living in Atlanta right now. And something he said to me really stuck. It's just like, we start talking about imperialism and who gets to decide what's beautiful and put that in front of people, right? And so somehow this tall, Nordic-looking, impossibly thin, blonde Barbie is this aspirational figure that we either look like or we are less than, right? And so, and as far as the guys go, it's not a problem, because if you make enough money, then she'll love you, right? So guys can make money and be successful and drive the right cars, and Barbie comes to your car, and it's insane. All of it is just insane. And if you think about how the whole shit show is set up, it's amazing that so many people have fallen for this trap, right? And all of our girls are just, going down this road of going, into agony and suffering over it. It's unethical. And the media needs to either stop that, or y'all need to stop watching that media.
Well, I don't think the media is going to stop it. So I feel like we got to reclaim the power here. And I would love to riff with you about how we do it. You know, for the mothers who have daughters, for the fathers who have daughters, what are the pattern interrupts? Like, what will make a difference in terms of our girls having a sense of acceptance around their body and acknowledging the differences without judgment?
Well, one of the things I've been thinking about is just setting up, you know, working with fashion designers to set up clothing on people with normal bodies. You know, I want short Japanese girls. I want, you know, kind of juicy African American girls. I want all of the different body types that are fine just the way they are, with clothing that brings out who they are, and reattributing beauty to that which is much more cross-cultural and you know, just less judgmental. And so that's one side of it. And you know, for me, like I used to own summer camps for kids, and I'd see the girls talking about this stuff, and I'd just walk up and be like, "What are you talking about? She's too skinny." They'd be like, "What do you mean?" And so I would just constantly combat the meme that they were falling into. But you know, how many media impressions versus how many Pedram impressions are these poor girls getting? It's really an uphill battle.
It is an uphill battle. So I really like that first point about challenging the people that are putting the media out there. And I've read about some initiatives where there's certain, you know, kind of minimum parameters in terms of height and weight, body mass index, body fat, and I applaud those. Like, I would love to see that used more broadly. And we know there's certain campaigns like Dove and Jockey have used women that have dimensions that are more real life. So hooray for that. It's still the minority, but you know, at least we're making some progress. And then I really like that change in the meme, you know, kind of thinking about some of the scripts that you can use with your children, with any girls that are in your sphere who are starting to think about body image in a way that could be distorted and starting to kind of pull them back from greatness. I also think that, you know, I found so much solace in yoga when it comes to body image. And I imagine that a lot of the Eastern exploration that you've done as a Taoist monk, as a Taoist priest and a Qigong master, that could also play a role here in terms of, you know, radical self-acceptance.
So there's this concept of counter mimicry that the shadow will always do to follow the light and just turn it a little bit to take people away. Like, people will always seek things that are light and beautiful, but then they'll be deviated just enough to miss the point. And so I had a patient in yesterday talking to me how they found this local yoga studio that was so beautiful. It didn't have any mirrors. Everyone, you know, it wasn't about what kind of new Lululemon stuff you were wearing, but it was just about doing yoga and how pure it was. And it made me think about how the yoga movement has been so intercepted by the glitz and the glam and the self-image and like, what kind of juice detox are you doing? It's all this like hyper fashionable nonsense that makes people with normal bodies feel fat in a yoga studio. And it was just like, yes, thank you, bring it back. Bring it back. That's not yoga, right? Fashionable yoga has now become this thing that is also leading to the problem. So if you're at a yoga studio that does that, shame on them.
Yeah, this is a great point. I'm glad you kind of called out this problem in the yoga movement. I mean, this has really been the Westernization of yoga and how it's been co-opted and really changed from its original form. I feel like so much of what I learned when I started practicing yoga with my great-grandmother when I was 5 years old was really about, you know, staying in the present moment and not comparing yourself, not comparing your body to other people. And as you know, another concept that I really like here is the idea of wabi-sabi from Japan. And instead of trying to go for this perfect ideal with your body, shifting that so that in wabi-sabi there's this cultivation and appreciation for the imperfections in beauty. And the perfection of imperfection. So I think that's a nice concept to apply to the human body, to the female form, and, you know, just trying to avoid that distorted thinking that so many of us internalize from the media.
Yes. I want to kind of call out the guys right now too, because I feel like, you know, we always talk about body image and girls and all that. But I'll tell you what I see with the fellas out there, which is equally as disturbing, is someone somewhere put it out there that guys need to be totally yoked and have their six packs and, you know, like have their tattoos around their arms and all this kind of stuff, and that's what chicks dig, right? So I'll go into a gym or better yet, go to a Las Vegas pool party and just watch these tools. And look, people are using steroids all the time. So all of these guys are out there because of their own negative body image crap, taking steroids, working out impossibly long hours and doing all this crap and starving themselves and getting these six packs just so they could like stand around and have like girls look at them and be like, ooh, yeah, that's a specimen, right? And so it's just this meat market shit show on both sides of people not looking into each other's eyes and being like, hey, who's that guy and what book has he read and is he even interesting, right? And so it's this complete external facade that both genders are trying to perpetuate so that somebody loves them. Or like, why should I be wearing a trucker hat because some famous guy made him popular and now all guys are wearing trucker hats? It's all just insane. You know, just be yourself, wake up to who you are, and none of that stuff actually matters. And I put it to you that the girl that walks up to you and approaches you because of your like six pack as you're standing there flexing at the pool probably isn't the best wife material.
Boom. Okay, this is really good stuff. Really good stuff. I think it's a perplexing problem. You know, I love it when we do a show, Pedram, on anxiety and we've got, you know, our top 5 hacks, or we do a show on depression, or, you know, how to get off of gluten and why. And I feel like this is a slippery topic. It's one that's a little harder to kind of sink our teeth into and really articulate, okay, how do we disrupt this problem of body image dysmorphic disorder? So I want to put it out to our listeners to help us out, like help us understand how this shows up for you. You know, what are the ways you're being held back from greatness? I feel like women especially, okay, can I rock a Dalai Lama quote here? I think
anytime you bring that guy in, anytime.
Yeah. Anytime. Oh, yep. I've got like full license. So the Dalai Lama, many people have heard him say, the world will be saved by Western women. And we can argue that, right? Like, why Western women? What are you talking about? But I feel like there's a way that women can't deliver on that prophecy from the Dalai Lama when they're obsessed about thigh gap. Like they can't, if your saggy butt or your kimono arms or whatever it is that you feel doesn't match up to this cultural ideal, when you're thinking about that and it's taking up so much bandwidth, it's really hard to have a life of meaning and purpose and to connect to that mission that really, I think, fires up, lights up your life. So I want to put it out to our listeners that this is not a one-way download. Like we really want to have a conversation with you about this. What are some of the important themes here? Like how does this show up for you? What are the ways that body image issues are holding you back from greatness and meaning? Let us know on Facebook, facebook.com/The Health Bridge.
Love that. Love that. And just to kind of end on this is, a lot of this energy that we're being pulled into with this body image and, you know, this is who's beautiful, so you need to emulate this beauty and all that. A lot of it is very animal brain tribe mentality of needing to belong. And, you know, personally, I would put it to you guys that if you were to elevate and come out of that, you know, who's going to love me, who's going to need me, animal brain, and work on your own personal development and find your own spirituality, find your own meaning and purpose, your eyes start to shine. And that's so much more beautiful than a body that's eventually going to age anyways, right? And wake up to who you are and stop trying to be who someone says you ought to be, because that's not empowering and that's not beautiful, really. That can stay beautiful for, you know, a couple summers, and then all you do is suffer because you left that place. And it's just the kind of quintessential Buddhist definition of suffering, right? Is constantly trying to strive to cling to something of the past. You know what? I had hair in my 20s. I'm over it, dude. Right? I'm over it, and I got a beautiful wife, because it's not about any of that, right? It's about who you are and what you stand for. So I would just ask our listeners to really think about that and step into your higher self and your greater self, because the rest of that stuff is bullshit. And the sooner you let go of that, the sooner you can start enjoying life and thriving without marketers just trying to like smack you with, why you suck because you didn't buy that latest purse. It's just nonsense. And I encourage you guys to look at it and tell us what you'd like to do to step out of it on facebook.com/thehealthbridge as well.
Thank you, Pedram. That was beautiful. I mean, this show was a little more tender, and I feel like it's part of what we really want to share with our listeners is these authentic conversations. We may not have all the answers, but we really want to be having a real conversation with you and to talk about these things that hold us back. It's really important to us. So thank you for listening. I am so grateful to our listeners. Remember to subscribe on iTunes. We really appreciate hearing from you on Facebook. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you, Sara, and thank you, everybody.